News has emerged from Russian insider channels, particularly the well-known Telegram account Ogpu, Vichig Obpu, that the Kilo-class diesel-electric submarine Novorossiysk, 242-foot vessel capable of launching nuclear-capable caliber cruise missiles, is in serious trouble somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea after being seen surfacing near Gibraltar. Fuel is reportedly leaking into the submarine's hold, creating an explosive hazard, and the crew, according to the leak, that's the telegram leak rather than the fuel leak, lacks both spare parts and technical specialists to repair the damage. They may be forced to pump the volatile fuel directly into the sea, simply to avoid an internal detonation. So far, the Kremlin and the Russian Navy have said nothing. Western navies, including the Royal Navy, which shadowed this boat earlier in the year, are undoubtedly watching closely. And the situation immediately invites comparison with the Kursk disaster of August 2000, when an Oscar II-class nuclear submarine sank in the Barents Sea after a torpedo exploded and all 118 sailors on board died, and the cause, a leak of high-test hydrogen peroxide reacting with a catalyst, is now well known. But what truly shocked the world was Moscow's response. And Putin, only 3 months into his first presidency, stayed on holiday in Sochi and refused early foreign offers of help. And the rescue effort was delayed, haphazard, and politically stage-managed. And by the time the Western deep-sea rescue teams were finally invited, it was too late. Margaret Thatcher, in a lecture given soon after that disaster at Millsaps College in Mississippi, drew a sharp moral conclusion. She said she had looked for a trace of humanity in the new Mr. Putin and had been disappointed. If ever there is a calamity, she said, in the West, the whole of the armed forces will go. They'll take everything there immediately. What mattered was not the submarine, but the lives of those in it. And the interesting thing was the new leader of the Soviet Union didn't act quickly, she said. They still do not value human life in the same way that we do. And her words were true then, and they are true today. Her words have resurfaced now because they seem to explain the same cold calculus we may be seeing again. The Kremlin shows little instinct to call for help or to admit failure when Russian sailors' lives are at risk. And the Novorossiysk is part of the Black Sea Fleet, but currently deployed in the Mediterranean, most likely to project presence as Russia struggles elsewhere. Its problems highlight three uncomfortable truths for Moscow. Aging equipment, even relatively new Kilo-class subs depend on Western-sanctioned parts and are harder to service far from Russian ports. Isolation, Putin's regime will be reluctant to request NATO or EU assistance, even in a life-or-death emergency, and propaganda risk. Admitting a crippled strategic submarine in NATO's backyard would undercut the image of strength Putin cultivates while waging war in Ukraine. For NATO, any accident on a missile-capable submarine is serious. An uncontrolled fire or explosion could scatter hazardous material, and an environmental fuel spill in the Med would raise legal and ecological questions. So the Novorossiysk story is not only about one vessel's misfortune, it's a window into Putin's governing style. Secrecy first, image second, human life a distant third. And the same instincts that let 118 men die in the Kursk may guide decisions now. Delay, deny, avoid humiliation, even if that endangers the crew. It also reminds us that a Russia increasingly cut off from Western technology and unwilling to seek help is operating complex and dangerous systems, nuclear-capable submarines among them, in crowded European waters, and that is not only tragic for the sailors, but potentially hazardous for everyone around them. We do not yet know whether the Novorossiysk will limp home, require an emergency tow, or suffer worse, but the silence from Moscow and the echoes of 2000 are telling. Thatcher's verdict that Putin didn't act quickly and did not value human life as we do sounds chillingly current. And if this accident develops, watch for two things: how long Russia takes to admit a crisis and whether it will dare to seek rescue from outside. The pattern from the Kursk suggests pride may again come before protection of its own men. And that is a sobering thought for every navy in the Mediterranean today.